Arden comes from the Forest of Arden in Shakespeare's As You Like It, which is one of my favorite plays. All the characters go into the forest throughout the course of the play and come out transformed. And so I love that metaphor for coaching. And I also think that our job as coaches is to see the forest for the trees. So our clients are stuck on their path, seeing what's right in front of them, and our job is to see the whole context.
What are leaders dealing with?
Well, every leader is on their own path, right? So they're forging their way through their own forest, whatever is going on in their day-to-day. And I think that the value of the coach coming in at any point in that story is that they're able to see the context in a way that somebody who has been in that story and moving along the path themselves just can't see anymore,
Sure.
right? We have our own way that we see our own agency in our story, and we don't have a lot of context. So our job as coaches is to re-provide that context so that leaders can make choices intentionally and move not from default, but from, oh, that's actually where I'm headed. So now I have to forge a different path. And maybe my default is to kind of pull to the right, but I notice I created a goal that's over to the left. So I'm going to have to redesign how I operate.
Let's talk about your background a little bit. Tell us about it, and how does that lend into what you do now?
Yeah, so I've always been fascinated with how human beings operate. I studied cognitive science in college because I wanted to understand the different components of the brain and the psychology, the philosophy, the linguistics, semantics, and semiotics, like all of the different aspects of how we think. And so when I discovered coaching in 2006, it was not as ubiquitous as it is now, but I realized it was a conversation that I'd really been having my whole life. It's what I had been interested in, that development. Getting trained as a coach gave me tools to then have that conversation, but it's really the thing that I had been interested in forever. And so I got trained as a coach, and I started Arden in 2007. I was working with entrepreneurs. The recession hit in 2008, so it was a totally different world. It was hard for them.
Sure.
And I really just wanted to provide those tools to people in a way that would make a difference for them in their work and in their lives in general.
How did you navigate starting a business in that time while also trying to provide the support to clients that desperately needed it?
It's a really insightful question. I mean, I too am an entrepreneur, so I was, as you say, going through a lot of the same things. I think you put one foot in front of the other and you keep going. Most businesses don't make it, right? Most entrepreneurs fail before they reach $1 million. Like, most businesses don't make it. However, those that start in a recession have been shown to do much better against their competitors. I'm assuming that's because they have something that differentiates them, or, they have something that other people fold. I feel like New York should be playing, if you could make it there, you could make it anywhere. There's something to that. And I did start the company in New York. So I was living there, and I was working in my other entrepreneurial endeavor as an event management company. And I just knew that coaching was really what I wanted to do. And there was a lot of education that I needed to do at the time because people didn't know what coaching was.
Right.
Coaching was not used in every corporation.
How do you maintain the quality, the consistency?
Well, I think two things. One is we have an established process and we have a system that we train all the coaches in terms of the structure of the coaching and how we feed data back and what their responsibility is at different points in the coaching. But we also hire the best coaches, and we trust them. So my team is all professional certified coach or master certified coach. They represent the top 14% of the industry in terms of what coaching is available out there. So I know that when they step into the room, they're asking good questions. They're following the core competencies of the profession. So I trust them to trust their gut as well as follow our structure.
How would you define the philosophy of Arden Coaching?
I want people to have the tools to be the best human being that they can be and enjoy their experience of being a human being as much as possible. We do that with leaders by working on how they work with other people and recognizing the humanity, both of themselves and the people that they work with. Because I think that's how you apply those tools, right? We're working with the operating system of the leaders so that they understand, like we were saying earlier, that default path that they're on versus the path that they may be consciously choosing, so that they can understand how they operate, that self-awareness that's at the core of everything that we do. How do they understand themselves and align their choices, their team, their strategy with what they're consciously endeavoring to create for their company, for their team, for the world. What is it that they're after, and how can they shift potentially what their default is in order to maximize the chance that they're going to get there.
So how do you account for the systems and consistency and the flexibility that you need to be a successful coach?
Well, we have both. I mean, we are not the commoditized giant in the space, right? We work with clients where they are not just a number. We're also not the 1 or 2 person shop that I used to be, right? Where you can serve a few people, but you can't serve the whole organization. So we want to balance those two things. We want to incorporate lots of data and lots of systems and a structure that we know works over time, right? We have the history and the track record to say we know the structure works. But we also want to account for the individual. We're a small enough organization that we customize a lot of things, and we accommodate our clients' needs when something is, that structure needs an addition, right? Something tweaked, because we are dealing with human beings. Human beings are messy. Human beings are gray. They're not black and white. They don't just fit into a box or a structure that is the same for every single person. So we want to set up something that we know works, and then be attuned enough to the individual client or the organization that we can tweak it and accommodate what the humanity requires.
You talked about the track record of success. What does that look like?
Success looks like at the end of the engagement, the leader and their supervisor or their HR partner, whoever was engaged as a stakeholder, coming back and saying, we got what we wanted. Right. So that they are tracking. We have a development plan for every client. If you're talking about one-on-one, I mean, we also do programs which have slightly different metrics. But on the one-on-one side, we're working to make sure that they have accomplished the goals that they've set out to accomplish. And we track it throughout, and we have metrics, and we tie it back to our Arden 8, which is our 8 core leadership dimensions that our leaders are typically working on. We've taken those from the 18 years of clients thus far.
Who are the people that generally are coming to Arden and going, we have this issue or we have this need? How can you help us?
Usually it is a CHRO or a VP of HR who's looking at the leadership pipeline throughout the organization, right? How am I instilling the leadership competencies that we want for everything from our CEO all the way down through all of our managers? What do we believe in? What are we trying to make our leaders reflect? And how do they behave with their people? So they're trying to establish that consistency. So we provide that by using programs at a lower level. It's cost effective, it's efficient, it provides common languaging for everybody. And then up through the senior tiers, the programs get more and more individualized. So you end up with like an individual coach for the CEO. And
so thinking about that leadership pipeline, is there a philosophy that you deploy?
Yeah, absolutely. So at a rudimentary level, we're talking about insight plus action equals results. That means we're always starting with awareness and an understanding of where someone or some group of people is starting, and providing some insight, some training, some aha moment, right? There's an insight. Now, that's not enough. That's a nice conversation, and you can have a revelatory moment, but it doesn't matter unless you put it in practice. So then there's the action piece where people have to apply that learning. That's what happens between the sessions, right? We'll have a great conversation, and then you'll go off and actually try and have some difficult conversations, or assert your influence, or practice the things that you were working on in the coaching session or the training. So that's the action piece, and that's what produces the results. You do that over and over and over and iterate on it, and that's where we get the results at any level, with a group or with individuals.